Greetings to everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the topic of laced column design. So first of all, what is laced column? Uh, if the column have heavy loads from the roof at the time, instead of going with the conventional section like ISJB, ISNB, ISHB, IS uh, these kind of sections, instead of these kind of sections, we are going with some built up sections, okay, in order to increase or in order to carry the heavy load. So that time, whatever the sections we are going to give for the column as an individual member, okay, that column will not act unique because of individual elements, okay. So that time we are going to give some connections between these individual components so that the column sections, built up sections, can act as a monolithic member. So if it is going to act as a monolithic member, then the strength whatever it is going to carry, that will be very high when comparing with the conventional section members. Okay, let us discuss about this topic. For example, if we are having heavy loads, I already said, so the load is going to act. Okay. That time, instead of single I section or channel section, okay, or angle section, we are going to give a built-up section such that double I section, okay, or the channel section has been placed back to back or face to face, okay, or else four angle section. So this is the way we are going to distribute the column. But if the members are like in the separate manner, okay, the load won't distribute properly, okay, which means it won't use effectively. That is the sense we are going to say. So in order to use these sections, individual sections effectively, we have to make that one as a monolithic member, such that what we are going to do, we are going to connect these members with some flat or plate or plates, okay, by this side and this side, so that the member can act as a monolithic member. Okay, so here the sectional moment of inertia is more when comparing with the individual element. So that's why the column is going to have or going to take heavier load when comparing with the individual section. So this is why we are going to give some flats or plates. This is called lacing. So in order to place the position, the flats and plates, it will be called as lacing or battening. Okay, now, so here this is your cross sectional view, that is our plan view. Okay, instead of plan, if I'm going with the elevation view, so here the channel section or I section, whatever it is going to be like this. Okay, so these two channel sections may be connected with the flat or plate by means of inclined manner. Then the system of thing is denoted as or called as lacing or lace system, or the column is to be called as laced column. Okay, instead of giving inclined, this one is single lacing column, which means I'm going to have only one member like this. Okay, instead of this, if I'm going to give like X profile, okay, then it should be called as double lacing. So here at a single spine, it can have double flats, two flats or plates. Okay, then the system is denoted as double lacing system. Okay, so this type of column is denoted called as laced column. Another term I said batten. So batten is nothing but instead of inclined member, if I'm going to connect the column member with the horizontal plates or flats, then it is said to be batten. So this is the common difference between the laced column and battened column. So why we are going to give means in order to transfer the heavier load to the carried by the column, okay, from the roof. Let us move on to the problem. Before going to the problem related to laced column, that is the column is a compression member. Okay, we all know that. So the regular part, that is design of compression member, we have to do first, such that for the given load we have to calculate the area requirement. Okay, from the P is equal to AE into FCD formula. Okay, based on the sectional details. If it is channel or I section, we are going to assume the FCD value as 135 Newton per mm squared. If it is angle section, then between 70 to 90 Newton per mm squared, we are going to assume. So from that, we are to get the area, effective area requirement. So based on the requirement, we should go for the effective, we should go to the handbook. From the handbook, we have to select the section. So from the section, sectional details and the buckling class, we have to get the area and everything. And based on the buckling class, we have to calculate the design strength of the member. So always we should remember that the design strength is more than the applied load. Then the member is safe to transfer the load. Okay, that is we can have from the page number 34 in the compression member, that is P should be less than PD. Okay, so for this FCD we are to get it from the uh, table 9A, 9B, 9C and 9D. So based on the buckling class, so for the with respect to the buckling class category, that is based on the shape of the sectional details. Okay, then we should go for the buckling class category. Okay, now and here we can have the effective length parameters. Okay, then after we can have some constraint for the laced column. So here page number 48. Okay, the laced column constraints are available from the code book. Class number 7.6. Sorry, 7.6 is for laced column from page number 48 to page number 50. Okay, then after we can have battened column for 7.7 class. Okay, so here the requirements related to laced column is available. Okay, now let us move on to the problem. So problem: design a laced column with two channel placed back to back of length 10 meter to carry a factored load of 1400 kilonewton. The column is assumed to be restrained in position but not in rotation at both the ends. So this is the given data related to problem. Okay. So first one is they have given that the load, factored load P is equal to 1400 kilonewton is acting. Then the length of the column is 10 meter. Then they have given the condition. Okay, both ends are restrained in position not in rotation. Okay, so what is this end condition that we have to get it? So let us move on to the IS 800 code book. Okay, if the both ends are hinged. Okay, now so see here, restrained. So boundary condition, translation and rotation. Okay, at one end restrained and free. So at another end, translation is restrained and another end is free. Okay, that is not rotation is free to rotate. Okay, so if it is like this, then the column is said to be both ends are hinged, so that the effective length becomes 1L. So now both ends are hinged. Solution. So first we have to design the compression member. So they mentioned that channels placed back to back. Okay. So from both ends are hinged, the effective length of column is equal to K into L. So K is 1 into L. So 10,000 mm. So next page. From page number 34 of IS 800. P is equal to AE into FCD. So assume FCD is equal to 135 Newton per mm square. Since it is channel section, so for the channel section or I section, we can assume FCD value is equal to 135 Newton per mm square. P, they have given that 1400 into 10 cube newtons. Therefore, effective area required for channel section. So 1400 into 10 cube divided by 135. So how much? It is 10,370.37 mm square. So here two channels are placed back to back. They have given two channels are placed back to back. So what we have to do? So the area has to be divided by 2. So this is the way. Therefore, area of single channel required is equal to 1370.37 divided by 2, such that we can have the value of 5185.19 mm square. So this is the area required for a single channel. Now we have to move for steel handbook. So from the handbook, we have to choose one section. So rolled steel channel from the handbook. So we have chosen that based on the area. So where is the area? Area is available here. So we have to choose the section have the area more than 5,000. Okay. So here we can choose that ISMC 350. So the total area is 53.65 cm square. So 5,365 mm square. Okay. So we can choose this section. Also, we have to calculate, we have to note down the sectional properties of that section. Okay. Select ISMC 350 from steel handbook. Therefore, area provided for single channel is equal to 5366 mm square. Okay. Therefore, total area provided. Therefore, total area of channel section provided is equal to AEP is equal to 2 into 5366. So it becomes 10,732 mm square. So this is the effective area provided. Now we should move on to the design strength of the compression member or design strength. Design strength of the member. Design strength of the member. Okay, they have mentioned that the channel are placed back to back. Okay. So now we have to calculate the design strength. So design strength of the member PD is equal to effective area provided into FCD. Okay. For FCD value, we need KL by R minimum. Okay. So here the sections are to be placed like this in a laced section. Okay. So this is our YY axis. This is our XX axis. So here when comparing with RXX, okay, the RYY value will be high. Okay. So what we have to, that which is nothing but our IXX value. Okay. So IXX value should be less than IYY value. So this is because of this spacing between the two channels or spacing between the two members. Okay. So automatically the moment of inertia about the YY axis is going to increased because of that spacing. Okay. So that's why we are going to consider our RYY, that is R minimum is equal to RXX. Okay. So RXX value we can take it from the handbook. So the RXX value is equal to 136.6 mm. Therefore, the KL by R minimum value. So 10,000 divided by 136.6 is equal to 73.20. Now, from the code book, the effective slenderness ratio of laced column shall be taken as 1.05 times of the actual maximum slenderness ratio in order to account for shear deformation effects. So whatever the value we got now, that value is multiplied with 1.05. Then only the uh, slenderness ratio for the laced column we can get. Therefore, slenderness ratio, effective slenderness ratio for the column is equal to 1.05 times of lambda. Okay, so which is nothing but 1.05 into 73.20, so that we can get the value of 76.86. So from this value, okay, for from the IS 800 2007 table 11, okay, for channel section the buckling class is equal to C. So refer table 9C from IS 800 2007 to get the value of FCD, designed compressive strength, so that the KL by R value and FCD value. So for 70 the value is, so we need KL by R minimum as well as Fy value. So 250 Newton per mm squared from the table. Okay. So 70 and 80. For the value of 70, we have 152 FCD value. Similarly, for the value of 80, we have the value of 136. Then what about the value for 76.86? So FCD is equal to, by doing interpolation, 152 minus 76.86 minus 70 divided by 80 minus 70 into 152 minus 136. So if I'm going to do this, I can get the FCD value as 141.024 Newton per mm squared. Okay. Therefore, design strength PD is equal to AE. So 10,732 mm squared multiplied with 141.024. So the answer is 1513.5 kilonewton. So this value is more than our given load 1400 kilonewton. Hence, the section is safe to transfer the given load. Now let us move on to the design of lacing. Okay, design of lacing. So second part of our column. So here we already said the channels are placed back to back. Okay, here and here we are going to place. Okay, so because of this spacing only, I said the moment of inertia about the y axis is going to be increased. Now this is with respect to x axis, this is with respect to y axis. Okay, so with respect to y axis, the centroid of the C section maybe lies here, so which is nothing but CYY. Okay, First of all, we have to find out what is the spacing between these two channel section. Okay, so first category. So the spacing between two channel, spacing between two channel. So for this, you can refer class number 7.6.5 from IS 800 2007. Okay. So for that, what we are going to do now, by equating the moment of inertia, equating the moment of inertia about their axis. So which is nothing but Iyy is equal to Ixx. I'm going to take it. So Iyy, if it is conventional section, then it is going to be like this. Okay, there is no spacing. But here we have spacing. Okay, so Ixx. So two channel sections are available. So 2 into Ixx. Similarly, Iyy. So 2 into Iyy of channel section plus area into x bar x bar squared. Here x bar is nothing but this distance from here to here. So this is nothing but d by 2 plus cy y the whole square. Okay. Now from the handbook, the Iyy value is equal to 430.6 into 10 to the power 4 mm power 4. Similarly, Ixx value from the handbook is equal to 10,008 into 10 to the power 4 mm power 4. Similarly, the area we already know that 5366 mm square, and also Cyy value is equal to 24.4 mm. So these are the value we need. Now we should substitute these values to get the value of D. So here 2 get cancelled. Okay. Now Iyy 430.6 into 10 to the power 4 plus area 5366 into D by 2 plus 24.4, the whole square is equal to Ixx value 10,008 into 10 to the power 4. So here this phenomenon is coming to be this side, then it is becomes minus, and that value is going to divide by area. Okay, so that we can get d by 2 plus 24.4, the whole square becomes 17,848.30. Now we should move on to the value to calculate the value of d. So d by 2 is equal to root under that value. Okay, so root under 17,448.30 minus 24.4. Therefore d by 2 becomes 109.198 mm. So B, that is the spacing between the two channels. B is equal to 109.198 into 2. So the answer becomes 218.396 mm. So we can say spacing between those two channels becomes 220 mm. Okay. So the spacing has been arrived is equal to 220 mm. Now let us move on to the next step. That is, the channels are placed like this. This is our plan view. Now we have found this distance spacing D is equal to 220 mm. So x axis, y axis. So here we can going to connect by lacing, that is flats. Okay, so that flats we have to make it. So first this is our plan view. So this is our channel section. Similarly here also we can have channel section, and these two channel sections have been connected by the lacing. So this is called single lacing system we are going to use now. So here we are going to place the bolt. Okay, now let us, we have to, that is from this bolt to bolt, the length becomes called as effective length of the lacing bar. Similarly, the edge to edge distance is nothing but the actual length of the lacing bar. Okay, and meanwhile this is the width of the lacing bar, BL. Okay, similarly this is the thickness of the lacing bar, TL. Okay, lacing bar. Then next, the distance between here to here is nothing but the horizontal spacing. Okay, H. Similarly, the vertical height between the bolt to bolt is nothing but vertical spacing. Okay, then this angle is equal to theta, that is angle of inclination of lacing bar is equal to theta. So these things we have to calculate, okay, in order to design the lacing. Okay, now let us move on to the these things. First one, horizontal spacing. Horizontal spacing, H. Okay, so this is nothing but D plus gauge distance. This side and this side we can have gauge distance. So horizontal spacing H is equal to D plus 2 times of G, gauge distance. So gauge I'm going to take it as 16 mm. So I'm going to assume this value. Okay, so D is equal to 220 mm plus 2 into 60 mm. So it becomes 340 mm is the horizontal spacing H. Okay. Next, vertical spacing. Vertical spacing, V. So for the vertical spacing, we need angle of inclination. Angle of inclination of what it is? Lacing bar. So we already said that we are going to have flats or plates. Okay, so the angle should be more than 40 degree and less than 70 degree. So this is the condition. So this is from the class 7.6.4 of IS 800 2007. So now we can assume theta is equal to 45 degree. Therefore, vertical spacing V is equal to 2h into tan for theta. So if I am going to substitute this 2 into 340 into tan 45 degree, the value is equal to 680 mm. V is equal to 680 mm. Okay. So here H we have calculated as 340 mm and V we have calculated as 680 mm. Still we have to calculate breadth of lacing bar, thickness of lacing bar and the effective length of the lacing bar, actual length of the lacing bar. Okay. And we have to design number of bolt required. Okay. So next, width of or effective length of lacing. Effective length of lacing. So for this LE, okay, that is LE is equal to root under H squared plus V by 2 the square. So I already informed in the figure, represented in the figure. So from here to here, inner side of the bolt, okay. Uh, so root under 340 square plus 680 divided by 2 the whole square. So the answer becomes LE is equal to 480.8 mm is the effective length. Okay. So here the effective length becomes LE is equal to 480.8 mm. Now I need actual length. So actual length. Actual length of lacing bar. So L is equal to, here see the diagram. So the edge distance at left hand side and right hand side, if I am going to add it, automatically I can get the actual length. So actual length is equal to LE plus 2 times of edge distance. Edge distance. So for the edge distance, we know that formula is 1.5 times of D naught. So this D naught is nothing but dia of bolt hole. So how I should calculate? So assume the dia of bolt used is equal to, assume dia of bolt used is equal to 20 mm. So D. Therefore, dia of bolt D naught is equal to 20 plus 2 is equal to 22 mm. Therefore, edge distance E is equal to 1.5 into 22 becomes 33 mm. Say 35 mm is equal to E. Okay. Now substitute this value into L to calculate the value of actual length. So LE is 480.8 plus 2 into 35. So the answer is 550.8 mm. Say actual length L is equal to 555 mm. Okay. So in this figure, we have calculated the actual length also 555 mm. Now we have to calculate the breadth and thickness of lacing bar. Width of lacing bar, that is BL. So BL minimum value from the code book class 7.6.2 of IS 800 2007. Just I will show the width of lacing and thickness of lacing bar. Thickness of lacing bar, that is TL. So TL minimum is equal to, from the code book. So from code book page number 50, the width of lacing bars in bolted or riveted construction, the minimum width of lacing bar shall be 3 times of nominal diameter of the end bolt. So 3 into dia of bolt D, 20 mm we have assumed. Similarly, then 3 into 20 means 60 mm we can get. Similarly, thickness of lacing bar. The thickness of flat lacing bar shall not be less than 1/40th, 1 by 40 of its effective length. So of its LE for single lacing, and 160 if of effective length for double lacing. So now we have given that single lacing system. So 1 by 40 into LE we have to use. So 3 into D. So 3 into 20 mm dia of bolt here, dia of bolt. So 60 mm is the BL value. Similarly, TL minimum requirement is equal to 1 by 40th, since we have used single lacing system. Okay. So 1 by 40th into LE. So 1 by 40 into LE is 480.8 mm. So the answer becomes 12.02. So minimum 12.02 mm. So we can say 16 mm. So now we have to select either a flat or plate from steel handbook for the to match these values. Okay. For that we have to calculate the design strength. Okay, and number of bolts required. From handbook, that is the width they have said that 60 mm we got. Okay, and similarly the thickness is we have to check it, 10, 12. So it is more than 12. So next to that only we can have 16 mm. So we have to go for 16 mm. So 60 and 12. The cross-sectional area is, so corresponding to 60 mm width and thickness of 16 mm, the cross-sectional area is 9.60 centimeter square. So 9.60 into 10 to the power square, mm square. Okay, that is nothing but 960 mm square. From steel handbook, select flat of 60 mm width, ISF flat, 16 mm thickness. Okay, from that area provided is equal to 960 mm square. Okay, now we should move on to the transverse force, that is nothing but the shear force can create in the lacing bar. Okay, because of to distribute the load. Okay, since the load is going to like this, we have placed. Okay, so the load can be distributed through these lacing bars also. Okay, so that load is how much, that we have to calculate whether it is nothing but in the form of shear. So whether the bolt can resist the shear or not, based on that we are going to have number of bolts. Okay, that is the our next calculation. So 2.7, transverse shear on lacing. Transverse shear on lacing bar. So that is from the code book, from code book page number 50, the transverse shears. Okay, so here it is available. So the lacing shall be proportional to resist the total transverse shear VT at any point in the member equal to at least 2.5 percentage of the axial force of the member shall be divided equally among all transverse lacing system in parallel planes. So VT is equal to 2.5 percentage of axial force P. So that is the thing. So for that we have to design the bolt, number of bolt. So Vt is equal to 2.5 times of 2.5 percentage of P. So 2.5 into 1400 into 10 cube Newton. So which is nothing but 35,000 Newton. So here it is single lacing system. So that at the joint there are two, at the junction there are two members. Okay, here if I'm going to have shear force here, it is distributed to this one and this one, so it is divided by 2. Okay, so that we have to use it now. So for single lacing, the shear force Vt is equal to 35,000 divided by 2, so it becomes 17,500 Newton. Therefore, which is nothing but 17.5 kilonewton. Okay, this is nothing but shear force. Okay, Vt. So the strength of bolt in shearing is how much? Strength of bolt in shear, that we have to calculate now. Okay, so V DSB is equal to VNSB divided by gamma MB, whereas gamma MB is equal to, from table 5 it is 1.25. Okay, whereas VNSB is equal to FUB by root 3 into NN into ANB plus NS into ASB. We all know that the NS term becomes 0, so NN equal to 1. So A and B is equal to 0.78 times of pi by 4 into dia of bolt square. So it becomes, I think, 245 mm square. So if I'm going to substitute this value, then the VDSB becomes 45.27 kilonewton. Therefore, number of bolt required is equal to the total force acting on the lacing bar is 17.5 kilonewton and the strength of bolt, that is 45.27 kilonewton. So it becomes 0.38. Say 1 bolt is sufficient. Therefore, provide one number of 20 mm dia bolt. So here you can have one doubt too, why we are not going for bearing. Okay, design strength of bearing of bolt. Okay, now so bearing we no need, since we are assuming that bearing is, the value of bearing strength is more than shear, since only the shear force is going to happen, okay, in the lacing system. That's why whether the lacing bars is sufficient to transfer the shear force or not, that only we are going to check it. Okay, thank you all.